So there's a lot of talk recently about the upcoming Battlefield game for this year. A lot of speculation, and people are wondering when we're going to get the news because it should be any time now. Battlefield Hardline, Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 4, I believe, are all released in March. The details for all of them were released in March. So, I mean, by that logic, Battlefield 5 details would be released in March, but maybe DICE will be like, fuck it, and just really give us the details this month or the next. But recently there's been a development in a massive, well-developed rumor that is 2143, and it's talked about in Major Meteor's video. I'll link the video in the description, and he's talking about another YouTuber's video, Iceman Owls or Oz or whatever, his video, and I'll link that in the description as well. But he received an email completely explaining Battlefield 2143 that this person has supposedly playtested. And quite honestly, if it's true, then I just have one thing to say.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Because I am not excited for the future theme at all. Mostly because it's actually been done about as much as the Modern Warfare theme has. I mean, of course, you could argue that, since I want World War II theme, that you could say, oh, the World War II theme was done a shit ton too. But yeah, yeah, it has, but I'm a much bigger fan of historical settings than anything else, so that's just my argument for it. But in terms of future, just think about it, Battlefield 4's Final Stand DLC was kind of like that, and I was like, the maps were kind of good, but in terms of, the technology in those maps, I did not like it that much at all. Plus, we already have PlanetSide 2, and I feel like 2143 will be really, really similar to that. And the past 4 Call of Duties have taken place in the future setting. It's kind of bloated already, and the fantasy idea of it is something that I don't find very attractive for a Battlefield title. I'd much rather see what the Frostbite 3 engine can do with the World War II setting, especially if they use that same graphical style as they did in Star Wars Battlefront. It would look absolutely amazing. So I think that if it's 2143, it would be a missed opportunity. But for one thing, this is actually a really big if, because if you watch Iceman Owls' video, the email starts out with saying, I'm a really big fan of your videos and stuff, but that activates a few triggers for me, because he's only got 24,000 views. So, quite honestly, if he really does have this massive leak information, why does he go to such a small YouTuber? Because as small as I am, I'm minuscule. Iceman Owls is small too. If he wanted to leak information right, he would have given it to Jack Frags or X Factor or someone like that. Someone that would actually get it out there to where people would see it and be like, holy shit. But instead it's written to this strange choice of a YouTuber, and he says that he's a fan of him, so maybe that is the indicator that he's just completely making this up, and he's giving it to him because he's a fan and he wants to see what kind of massive outcry this would cause. And if you read the email, it does go into quite a bit of detail that's pretty impressive. He really has thought of a lot of things, but it doesn't sway my mind at all. Is he said it happened half a year ago in summer of 2015 that he went to this. Well, who is this person? Why was he brought to this playtest session? It doesn't make any sense. His name isn't reminiscent of any big YouTuber or someone that would actually be asked by DICE to go playtest the game, so it just doesn't connect. And while he does go into an astonishing amount of detail, any writer of any kind can go into detail like that if he's actually got the time and he has the imagination, and he can go into the detail like that. Because I've gone into detail in my mind of what I've wanted in certain games before, and I could definitely write it out a bit. It doesn't make that it's any more true just because you can write such a long freaking exposition about it. So I have absolutely no faith in this email at all. If you're fearing Battlefield 2143 the same as I am, just stay strong. There's no real indicator other than this email that the next Battlefield is 2143, and the majority of the Battlefield community actually wants something other than that. Like the Jack Frags poll that he did a couple of weeks ago had over 50,000 votes in it. Over half of them wanted World War II, and then most of the rest of them wanted some new theme. Like it's not a theme that people want, 2143. Now it was supposedly a pretty good game of the franchise, and I understand that, and I know that if they did make it, I would buy it anyway, and I would love it probably, but it's just not something that I want right now, particularly because of all of the games made recently in that theme. So we won't know until we know, you know? We're not going to be for sure what the next Battlefield game is until DICE releases the teaser for it, because they're really good at hiding information from us. So there's tons of evidence for any number of new Battlefield games. So I wouldn't hold a candle to this email at all. I wouldn't put my faith into it at all. And I would stay hopeful for World War II or some new theme that would be awesome as well. And just, I mean, we won't know until it's released. So I don't really want to worry about it that much right now. So if you guys like this, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. And until next time, this is Yummy. Goodbye and good hunting.
Spooky, scary.